how long I will be live because it is hot as crap and I think my phone's gonna overheat before long. So yeah. Trying to see if I can find a shade real fast before I get started here. And theoretically, I should be on a good microphone today. Or well, I got an external one that clips to my shirt, so I guess we'll see if it's worth a dang. I'm gonna look around real fast, see if I don't have a shade up here. Because otherwise what's so dumb is the YouTube live stream does not work with the camera zoom. So I do not have any form of sunshade for that phone. So I guess if it overheats, it overheats at this point. I mean, about the only other thing I really could do is put a fan on it and pray that it doesn't blow over. Which I don't think it will. It's not that warm today. I mean, not warm, but tripod's not that unsturdy, so I'm gonna probably just put a fan on the phone real fast. I'm gonna grab a drink of water. I know you guys can't see me on camera, and we'll get that far. I'm just trying to get stuff set up still. Trying to keep cool. According to my thermostat here in the shop, it's about 89 degrees in here, well, in the shop, and which is like 32 Celsius, centigrade, what the frick it's called, C, something, metric, temperature. Yeah. Just put this fan on it, just put on a gentle breeze, try to keep it from getting stupid overheated, and in turn it'll help when I come over, hopefully keep me from getting overheated. So just gonna do some things. In theory, fan should keep the phone cooler-ish. I guess we'll see how that works. Yeah, I don't know. It'll work for the meantime, I think. I don't think I'm going to keep running it, so. Project at hand. Pretty much run through the row units. I'm going to shut that off. That's going to be too loud. I guess. If needed, we can try to get this going. I don't know. I already got 2 row units done. It's pretty much the same as corn planter, just an extra 7 rows, and I don't have to set the singulator. And I shouldn't have had to have the last time. If I was smart, I would have left everything on as it was. So okay, we're on front row 3. Spray the chain. Make sure all the bearings are free. All right, those are all free there. Find my correct plate. 3F. I'm gonna bring the camera a little closer and maybe get actually in the shade. Byproduct of that. I'm gonna try and unplug from the ball. Oh yeah, that sucker's too. Oops. Okay, see if I can kind of get this in the shade. Yeah, that's gonna be a wish that'll not come true. I'm gonna try something real fast. I don't have. More of a trial. I've got this set up just perfect. The sun's pretty much on the south side, and that's where my work area is. I'm gonna see if I can put a ladder up and then throw a tarp, some sort over between the planter and the ladder, and see if I can create kind of a canopy tarp. So the phone doesn't overheat. Worth a shot at least. At least I think it is. That went well. There. And that's not doing what I want it to. I need to bring this further out and over. Try and create a canopy. Yeah, this isn't gonna do what I thought it was. Oh well. I guess it was kind of worth a try. Actually, if I get a bungee cord. Of which one I do have. I will create a sunshade. Oops. There, sunshade. Ish. There. Camera's in a sunshade. In theory. So, and I also have a little area I can go in to cool off. Stay out of that sun. I gotta grab some gloves. So yeah, try and make this work. Don't know how well it's going to work. Well, all I can do is try. Dang it. No. That's not gonna, that ain't gonna work, is it? Come on. Right in a sunshade. Really? Guess you can't beat physics. What? Let's try that. No. What the heck? I'm fighting a sunshade when I should be working on a planter. I don't have an umbrella that I can use to keep me cool. Alright, what's that do? It's still sagging in the center. Oh, it has to sag right on, right where I want. Okay, getting somewhere now. All that just for a sunshade. Anyways, got that going finally. I think, somewhat. Ouch. Okay. All right. I gotta get here on the pushers. Grease this bearing, the two bearings here. We got these right on. Nice thing is the grease gun's warmed up, so the grease is nice and thin. Ouch. Now I gotta figure out how to get the jack in here without destroying everything. Who's dinging me? Why am I being dinged? Oh. Not important. Okay, I gotta move my little work table here. Okay, would you stop dinging? Phone. I'm gonna put this on silent. Ah. Floor jack out here. think that's where I need to be. A little forward. Let's try that. Oops. That ain't right. Got myself into an area I don't like. I mean, the best way to check is you get out there with your okay. And you can look back here. You guys can't see it, but there should be no play. And there isn't. Because if I go up a shallow, bring that up one, it shouldn't touch. It just barely touches. It just barely doesn't touch. So drop that one. Turn screw down. Yeah, that's that row. All right, row 4, maybe, hopefully. I'm going to try and reposition this. Shoot. There we go. No, don't get the valve. Can I get this set up for the 4-ish? Need to get a actually I need to go get another ladder. Hold on, I'll be right back. I slide that out. Slightly hoping this works. It should. Need another bungee cord for this. I'll show you guys the ridiculousness I've set up here in a second. But sometimes it pays to have to, this will probably pay off because it'll keep me cooler and less likely to get sunburnt. sunscreen, but I don't have any right now. Probably not the smartest thing, but whatever. I'll end up paying for this in 50 years anyways. Some way or another. But I guess I'll pull this out real fast, show you the, oh, dropping stuff. Show you the sheer ridiculousness of this. I mean, it works. Keeps the camera in the shade so it doesn't overheat, and it's actually somewhat comfortable in here under the shade. Once I get done with that row unit, I'll have to do some shimming around, but I'll make it work. I'm gonna grab another drink of water real fast. Try and get this done in a reasonable amount of time, because I don't want to be out here more than I have to in this heat. Anyways, front row 4, same song for first, I guess. That is free. Go spin, that spins, that spins. All right, they all spin. There's my can of spray lube. Oh shoot, forgot to drop this into gear. Probably just 1, 2, 3, 4. Set the row unit here off to the side. Spray the drive chain. Spraying this with Specialist Dry Lube to help try and keep dirt off the chain, but keep the chain lubed. It says on the back here you can use it for most metals, plastic, and rubbers when used as directed. That's where it said on here you could recommend it for chain use as well, but whatever. That's 6 front, 4 front. Plate. And I've just, my gloves ripped, that's great. Lock that down, seed tube on, engage drive. To get a different glove. Hello, welcome in. It's currently 2:10 in the afternoon here where I'm at. I'm working on my 3505 Kinsey, trying to get it set up for soybeans. So maybe here in the near future we can go plant soybeans. I mean, right now the weather forecast is not looking that promising because I cannot go. Well, for insurance purpose, crop insurance, I cannot go till Thursday. And Thursday they're calling for bad storms, and I really don't want to have the tractor, what is it, about 25 miles away from shelter? Especially with this being the newer, or newest setup, I should say. I'd rather not. I guess we'll see what the weather does. And it really sounds like Thursday it's gonna be a terrible day, but predictions can always change, but I guess we'll see. I'm not even on one of them. Barely see what I'm doing. That's greased. I just gotta get my jig in here somehow. If I can even get my jig in here. And I'm trying to get this between the frame. Checking the depth, make sure it's set at 2 inches deep. Because as you plant, your openers wear. So sometimes they work their way shallow, or if you don't have them set up right, they work deep. So I need to shallow you up. Turn. I think so, because that's looks even-ish. But now I have no place, so, and we're touching the plank of wood, so that one I had a 1/4 inch too deep last year. Oops. Granted, last year I really didn't take the time to go through every row unit. Because I was kind of pushing it last year. I mean, I only have a spare day this year. Well, I guess 2 days, if you want to include today, but yeah, make sure I have everything set at the correct depth. Hopefully it won't be too terrible. I guess I can leave the camera set up here and work on row 5. I should probably work on all the row units. I actually got to go take a quick break. I will be back here in a second. I'm going to mute the mic. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I had to use the facilities really fast, and I also got the fan under here to try and blow some air on the fan. Not air on the fan. Air on the phone. Pardon me. Ah, brother. So, yeah, this is gonna be one of those. The ceiling does not want to stay up pretty much, but still better than nothing at this point. Anyways, row 5. You guys can probably still see somewhat of what I'm doing. Now I can drop it down, just let me know. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Wish I knew where I had my sombrero. Went looking for it, probably left it at home. But that is what it is at this point. Get this done. That is, oh. Okay, that's in check. Position two for this downforce springs. Row unit and a spray lube. Still going somewhat. Let's see if I can pull that up a little more here in a second. I think I've already used most of this can. Oh shoot, did I drop that in gear? Yes, I did. Okay. 5 forward plate, because each plate has to go in the same unit row unit came out of because of wear. And of which I marked with a Sharpie last year. Not the same as my deers that we had, where it'd be where you will go from 1 to 11, because we just had a 611 John Deere as a 1785, but it was pretty much a 611, 630s or 1115s. And this here is an 8-row, what they call an 815 planter. It's an 8-row, 30-inch. Or 15 rows at 15 inches, or an interplant planter, split row planter, whatever you want to call it. Set up on 15-inch rows for soybeans because we like our beans on a narrow row. I mean, some people run everything on 30s. Do what you want to do. I just know that tests have shown between our own, I mean, they're not studies, I would say, but over the course of the years between planting 7.5 with a drill, 15 drilled, 15-inch planted, 30-inch planted, and 38 planted. I know, old school 38. The 15-inch with a planter tends to get us our best bean. So, I mean, it's all up to what you want to run on your operation. We have the ability to run a vac planter, so we run a vac planter. That's what I like. At least what we like, I should say. Now I gotta drag my floor jack to the other side of the planter. Oh. Try not to smack everything while I'm at it, and I gotta come back to my gauge. I'm gonna have to make a different one because the one I have is made out of a 2x6. I should get a 2x12 or find a 2x12 because I know I got some around here. I just gotta find a 4x4 and plane it down to 2-inch. That should, in theory, get you, if I plane it down, should get a two-inch. That way we can get a I can get a better idea. I mean, this is a better way of finding out versus just kind of guessing where 2 inches is. Gets me in a better ballpark. And I don't know if that lifted up the sunshade at all. I hope it did, because I'm getting tired of fighting it. Trying to keep the camera cool, which is pretty hard on a hot day like today. I don't know like I said, in the shop was 89 Fahrenheit, 32-ish Celsius, I think. I don't know, I don't use metric that much. I mean, sometimes, not always. I do it sometimes just to screw with people. I gotta grease this. I know I had a couple rows last year that I didn't have set up correctly because I could see that in some spots I had some 30-inch rows. So I don't know if they weren't touching or what was going on, if I don't have enough down pressure on my row units or what. I really don't want it to go up a level because with the springs you only have 4 options really. You got like, I think with these is like, I'd have to go look in the book to get actual numbers, but you have like 75, 150, 225, no, I'm sorry, 275 and then 400. I really don't want to go up to 275 pounds, but also on that ground, we were running our corn planter. We had our, last year we got the corn planter, we got new. That's the 8-row Kinsey. The other Kinsey, the one that we're not working on, which I've already put away because we ran our 250 acres of corn in already. Doesn't take long when you got huge equipment and little ground. I mean, I know some people run 16. We run 2 8-row planters, one set up for corn, one set up for beans. Or most people would just run one big planter. They get a 16-row in our case, or a 12-row, and then their combine just picks half of that. Not exactly ideal if you ask me. That's my opinion. Whoa! Something is not right with this row unit. Let's try that again. Yeah, that is not right. How much play do we have here? Not a lot, but I don't know. Let's bring this up a twist. Okay, seems more ideal because there's no play on the stop back here now. Huh. Maybe I just have these 1/4 inch too deep. Maybe that was my problem with my emergence. I mean, we still had an okay yield, even though some spots were 30, some spots were 15-inch rows. Beans can at least compensate for stand. Unlike corn, corn is a finicky crop, if you ask me. Or at least more finicky than beans. Beans are kind of a plant me, I'll grow if I want to. Corn, I need X pounds of fertilizer, perfect spacing. Corn has to be in such a perfect world. Soybeans are kind of like more of a meh. I'll grow, maybe, kind of thing. So that's one thing I like about soybeans is that they really don't care too much because they can compensate for low pop and everything else, but I gotta go get more water, so I'll be right back. I'm gonna mute the mic. So I'll be back in a minute, or probably 2. So gotten 3 row units done so far. Getting about 1 done every 15 minutes, but it takes time. It's a slower process. It's not. You want to do it right, you gotta do it at a slower pace to make sure you're doing it right. So be back in about 2 minutes or so. I'm gonna go get All right, folks, I'm back, somewhat. I went in and got some water. Looked at the weather, it's 84 degrees. So somewhere in there. And obviously it's gonna be hotter than the shop because that's pretty much just a tin can when it comes to heat. So, okay. I just got front row 6 I gotta do now. Let's see if I can find a taller ladder. I'm gonna actually switch the sunshade around a little bit. So stand by. Do apologize, folks. As I'm moving over to the other side of the planter, I'd like to bring the camera a little closer to where I'm working. Also try to keep the camera out of the sun because electronics do not like to be overheated, and there's no good way to really keep this phone cool without having a noisy fan on it. I don't have an umbrella to put over the phone. Well, this kind of works as an umbrella. It's cheesy, but it works, I guess. Well, hi. I know I know my hat looks stupid. I look like a punk with it on my turned around. However, the reason I'm doing that is because the back of my neck always gets sunburned without fail. So I'm attempting to prevent that. Keyword is preventing. If it hasn't already, which it probably has, my idea. Because I typically have tummy work. That's a feat. That doesn't come out that. Nothing. Once you get wrapped up in something, you don't. Alright. Move a little further forward. But we're still in the shade. Phone's a little warm. But like I said, if I've thrown a Okay. Sorry, I didn't realize my microphone got unplugged to transmit the receiver. Hopefully it just fixed itself. I don't know if somebody could tell me, make sure I'm not losing my mind. Be great. Probably gonna take a break in the stream after this. I'm gonna go and take a 20-minute cool down in the shade in my house. Maybe go look for my sombrero, but really no need to get heat sick over a planter. If I could get the front done, that'd be great. And I just have the 8 back units to go. Throw some seed. I got some seed from last year when I cleaned out the planter. Throw that in there just to start up, make sure we got everything holds vacuum and population is somewhat set. Oh, hello, wasp. I did not invite you here. Something I'm going to address now before I get questioned. There will not be, I think I only got enough footage for one actual full-length video of corn planting. We've had some things going on around here, family-wise, I don't want to get into online. A long story short, chaos, and I didn't get much footage for corn planting. Hopefully bean planting we'll have some footage for. I guess we'll see what the weather does, because as we all know, cameras don't like the heat. Blah, blah, blah. And also on these newer tractors, it's hard to find a spot to mount the camera or the GoPro, because I use a homemade magnet mount and that doesn't always work. So anyways, enough about me ranting, blah, blah, rant and ramble. That wasp is gonna get me probably, so fair warning if I start freaking the hell out. Front row 6. Yeah. Here, the sucker. I'm gonna bring 6 around, the plate around. So somebody get that wasp. Let's set this over here. The only downside to doing narrow row planting is you have double you can have double the issues sometimes. But like I said, we've always found to get a better yield by doing narrow rows. So the extra bushels an acre kind of pays for itself somewhat. And I don't know how true the old adage is, but I've always been told 1 bushel of beans an acre is equivalent to 1 pound of available nitrogen for the corn next year. I think that's more of an old wives' tale. Frankly, I should probably go look that up while I take my break. But and in my mind, if you can split your well, you would have to have GPS, which we don't. But if you could split your corn between 2 rows of beans, your corn in theory can access more nitrogen per each stalk can access both sides instead of one side of nitrogen, or I don't know. I just know that as long as I can remember, we've always ran 15, it has been preferred to run 15-inch beans. The only time we've ever really had to run 30s is if we're running behind some years, especially if you have a really snowy year, which we have not had much lately. which is an advantage in the fact that it's less crap less snow I have to deal with. However, snow is moisture, and if you can start putting moisture in the ground, start rehydrating it, and that way if you have a dry summer, there is in theory ground moisture to help keeps the crops from totally burning up if you can get them established. Or at least that's what I believe. I mean, I could be wrong. I really don't want to be spreading misinformation. But beans really don't root that deep. Most beans root within like the top 4 to 6 inches of soil. Corn's your deep rooter. They like to run about a foot deep, sometimes deeper. Depends on what the genetics are. I really don't know. I have to be sitting in front of my computer to actually tell you the correct information, but I know beans don't really put out as much root mass as corn. That I do know. So, corn can root deeper and find more subsoil water than beans, which is why sometimes it's better to plant less population. And I know within the last couple of years, a lot of people have been cutting back their bean population. The old adage used to be, what I've always told, was 1.25 bags an acre with a planter and 1.5 bags with a drill. So, and I'd have to look at I think that equates out to about 175,000 seeds per acre with a planter, and then 210,000 for drill was the optimal number. But anymore, we've gotten it down from 1.25 bags to about 1 bag. And 1 bag or unit is 140,000 seeds for beans, 80,000 seeds for corn. So, but I do know that the ground I will be planting the beans on is not I shouldn't say the worst ground in the world, but I know it needs a little bit of help, especially with its pH. Maybe next year we'll get around to fixing that, but putting a little extra seed on the ground for soybeans so that way they can hopefully compensate for the poorer soil. I don't know. I know last year I really cut our population back. I don't know how we got to 1 3/8 on our population, which I can 100% tell you is way too much. And I cut it back to about 1.075 bags an acre. Because I wanted to go back to 1 bag an acre. I was told no, so I said, fine, I compromise with you, with my dad. And that was kind of the number we settled on. And it did good last year. We actually had a very hearty yield. Not the best yield I've ever seen. Well, I shouldn't say that. It was a very good yield. We got about 66 bushels an acre, 65 and 66 on both sections of our, well, because sections, which is a square mile, we own different parcels. We had what, 4 different farms? Yeah, 4 farms of beans, and I think it averaged out to just over 60, I want to say about 62 bushels an acre was the average, which is good. I mean, we're sometimes lucky to get 50, but I think the only place I had too much trouble on was here at the home place. I think we got going about a day or so too early. Just trying to pick some wet viney, and this number, the number of beans we've been planting the last couple years tends to like to be stay green when you try to cut it, and the combine does not exactly like that. So I think that's what kind of hurt us last year, is that we got it going about a day or so too early. But once everything dried down within the next week, it was okay-ish. Like I said, it was an average yield. It's the best I've seen. I know one year we got about 70 bushel, I think just shy of 70 on our one farm. Out on one farm just got shy of 70, an average of 70 bushels an acre. Which like I said, is the best yield I've ever seen. But I know some people are able to push that even further. But I don't know. I'm up for experimenting. It's just more of convincing my dad to allow me to experiment. But I think, frankly, if I can start experimenting at my own cost, he really won't give a shit. But that is for years down the road to go toy with stuff. This year, we're just gonna run it how we have. I'm not making any changes. I'm just going to make sure everything's in tolerance. Planting everything at about 2 inches, 150,000 seeds an acre-ish. I think it's like 150,500 is the number we go for. I'd have to go look in the book. But yeah, that's pretty much the plan. You just got to get these row units set up, make sure we're going to the correct depth and everything. I mean, of course, when I get out in the field, start going, I of course will make sure that we're running 2 inches or near it. And especially if it's going to be raining like this, I don't need to run them any deeper, because I know some people run a little deeper. Frankly, the corn we probably should have ran a 1/4 inch deeper just because of the lack of moisture as of late. I shouldn't say lack of moisture, we just got rain. What was it, last Saturday? Well, not last, because about 10 days ago, right? Yeah, 11th. Yeah, because today is the 21st. Well, we've had about a week of no rain, and it gets arid like this. I just hope the plants, and supposedly tomorrow night, there's a chance of some light rain, and I'm hoping it comes, because I went out, the home place started popping Friday, which it would have been in for a week if you guys have not seen that post. I went out and checked the other farms today, and they're starting to pop as well and sprout. So I have these too shallow again. I mean, too deep. This one also 1/4 inch too deep. I think so. maybe. Yeah, that's better. So 2 inches. Been planting at closer to 2 1/4. So I don't know. You know, this defeats the entire purpose. Drinking with the gloves on. Gloves supposed to keep my skin from getting dirty, but yeah, I'm drinking it. Yeah, I know. I'm intelligent. You are more than welcome to insult it. All right. Let's see here. We've been going for about an hour and 15 minutes. Shoot. Getting warm. We're gonna do this last row unit. I'm gonna take a break for about half an hour or so. I'm gonna go in and cool down. So then hopefully we can just go hit the back and it'll be done. And hopefully after 4 o'clock it'll start to cool down. Maybe I'll come back around 6 or so actually. But in that way, at least the front will be done. Get this done. That's that. All right. Grab the plate. And one other upside to cutting a population, at least in my mind, is your plates spin slower. So in theory, you get a more precise plant. However, beans really we don't use, you're not supposed to, well, I don't know, I shouldn't say you can't, but when it comes to setting up the planter, Kinsey doesn't say you need to use singulator. I don't know if anybody does use a singulator on their beans. Because, I mean, to most people, beans are kind of your, I put beans in the ground just because I'm supposed to. Which, I mean, beans aren't bad. I mean, they take a lot of phosphorus and potassium to grow. But they help fix nitrogen so you don't have to burn so much on urea, and also you use a little less moisture to grow. This can's almost dead. Or it pretty much is, I should guess. It's a good thing I got multiple, because I got a lot of chains I gotta grease, especially with this being a split row planter. Got pretty much double the amount of chains I gotta grease, so I better grease the split drive. Not grease, but spray it down. Yeah, I pretty much killed that. Well, one can gone. But that's to be expected. I don't know if that was the can I was already using. 1, 2. Do I have a grease? Or do we just have an air bubble? I think I got an air bubble. Or the grease got warm. Come on, sucker. Well, that's not good. Well, I got grease pushed coming out of the bearing anyway, so not... Huh. What's going on? I hope this sucker doesn't blow apart. Okay, there we go. Must have got an air pocket in the grease. Whatever. Not the biggest deal, because I'm getting grease pushed out of this bushing, bearing, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, put the row unit back in. What am I doing? Vacuum the vac hose. Delivery. I don't know if I've ever told anybody, I really love these bulk fills coming from a box planter. If you ever ran a box planter, and I will never go back to a box planter if I can help it, especially for soybeans, because you go through so many units, you have to stop. I mean, for Kinsey's by design, only carry about 2 bags a row unit. I mean, you can get extenders, but you only get about 3 bags a row. So on an 8 row, that would give you 24 bags, but that's if you plant 30s. Granted, if you're planting sorry. I think I did the math. You're only carrying 45 units of seed if you have the extenders on it. Oh, that one was a 1/2 inch off. And this is why you check for your depth. Make sure. Because each turn is supposed to be about each turn in theory is about a 1/4 inch. Check, make sure. Probably not even doing this right. Well, like I said, I will check with the actual gauge. Make sure I'm not too high. but I don't think being high this year is gonna matter because it's gonna be pretty wet, it looks like, for planting beans. So I mean, if I go up to 1.75 inches, it should be fine. But that's essentially what I've, because that would be down almost at 2.5, which is probably way too deep for a soybean. But all right, what's the time? Current time is about 3:15, 3:09 actually here. I'm gonna go take a cool down. I'm actually gonna go take about an hour or so break because it's almost warm, and I know the phone's not exactly happy because it's getting overheated. So I'm gonna stop the stream for now. We'll do a part 2 here in hours, probably here later in the day. So stay tuned. I'll see you guys then.